Once upon a time, not too long ago, I met I don't know what just happened. It stopped working. One person is here ready to watch. I don't know how many years ago, before COVID, whenever that was, back in the olden times. Oh, there's Russell. Add, copy, edit, paste. Anyway, Russell and I met through Peter Draws, a fellow YouTuber who has quite an audience of many thousands of people, and he would love to draw. And I sent him a pen, Peter, for him to keep. And Russell saw that and wanted a pen like the one I gave Peter. And he bought one from me, and the rest is history. Hello, Russell.
Hello.
Oh, there you are. I can hear you.
I had my camera facing the ceiling there for a minute, and I was looking at it and thinking, well, why am I not seeing my hand in front of the paper?
Well, I see it now in front of the paper. Is there a way that you could maybe aim it so I see more of the paper and less of the tripod?
Afraid that's a no-go right at the moment.
Okay. Are you able to draw with the tripod? Which is your right hand?
It's really off to the side. This is my right hand here.
Okay. Can you maybe, what would happen if you put the tripod on the other side of your sketchbook so you wouldn't have your hand hitting the tripod when you're drawing? Is that doable?
Try and do that. Let's see. The problem is the edge of the table is here.
Oh, I see.
What I could do, though, is I could lengthen the tripod, see what happens.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's
Maybe
this
I
is
can get it closer to the page. This is a constant problem. I need to figure out some kind of setup for this.
well, actually, what I'll do, Russell, I can, and you're using what, your phone or what to?
Phone, yeah.
Okay, so when you still like to be able to see, maybe you don't need to once you have it set up. You don't have to see what you're drawing because you see that perfectly fine. And it seems like it might work.
Nope, doesn't look like it because, oh, what are we doing? There, let's see if that resolves anything.
Actually, let me show you this. Just watch my screen for a second.
Mm-hmm.
You do that?
Yeah.
Okay. How many fingers am I holding up?
You're holding up 2.
Oh, good. So this is what I had someone do, and it worked really well for him, and it could work for you. So here's your table. I'm drawing it in 2-point perspective. Here's the horizon line over here. Here's your chair. Here's you sitting in the chair. Here's your head, right?
Right.
What I told him to do is get a set of books 5 or 6. Have a ruler come out from the books, add more books up here to weigh it down the ruler,
That's what you're getting at.
and stick your phone, rubber band it or tape it to the stick so it looks down at your drawing, and you can still see the top of the phone, and it's parallel to the thing. It's your both hands aren't bumping into shit. So do you have a set of 10 books and a ruler?
Yeah, I do. Let me.
Okay. Well, while you find that, we'll see if it works. It has worked for me when I've not had my contraption, and it can work for you, I think, too. And it could work for anyone else. So anyway, what Russell saw this pen that I had given to Peter, draws, and Russell wanted one for himself, so I sold him 1 or 2 pens, and we ended up becoming friends. He still won't give me his teeth. He still hasn't said yes to my marriage proposal, because he's a smart man, that Russell.
I'm just trying to avoid the worst trouble for you, Peter.
You don't want to cause me any trouble.
No.
I see. So while he's working on getting his things set up, I presume you do have books that you can pile up.
I'm piling up books right now.
Okay. And also, if you might have to have your phone, for me, I can have my phone or my iPad can be horizontal above my picture. It may not work for you. It depends on what kind of phone you have. It might automatically show a vertical thing. But so far, this looks good, except if you have a ruler that
that's what I've got right
sticks out a little longer, we'll only see your page, not your books. It looks like you've got, what books are you reading these days?
Actually, I've checked out a book from the library. I read a few from the library. This one's called The Three Escapes of Hannah Arendt. It's a graphic novel.
Oh, neat.
Basically about the life of Hannah Arendt.
Okay. Is it a modern book, or is it something that was made in 1940?
It's pretty new.
Okay.
I don't think they would have been making graphic novels about Hannah Arendt's life in the 1940s.
Well,
maybe regular books, but not graphic novels.
I have some graphic novels from the 30s and 40s.
Now, are you talking about Lind Ward?
Lind Ward and Franz Maserel.
Yes.
So they're all, they were a thing once upon a time.
Yeah, they were. But they were sort of a whole.
They tend to be. They tend to follow a relatively simple story. They weren't able to get into complicated plots. It was usually some guy who
he had
died. Who died after a while. He died, and the end. No, they're quite interesting, but you are sort of limited by not being able to tell a very complicated story.
And with Lind Ward especially, he's not using any text or anything.
Well, no text. He has a title. That's all it is, usually. God's Man or The Drum.
And then the rest has to be, just pictures that tell the story.
Yep.
And then there was, of course, Milton Gross, He
Yeah.
did basically a parody of Lyndon Ward called "He Done It Wrong,"
Yeah.
which was all about a lumberjack trying to get back his girl or something like that. I need to read it one day.
Oh, you mean to look at the pictures one day?
Yes, I want to look at the pictures one day. I want to decode the visual imagery that appears. So this is what we've got right here. Can you see everything?
Yeah, this works fine. You know, I can tell you're drawing upside down, but I think that's okay.
Yeah, I don't know how I would
Fix that.
fix that. No.
I mean, it depends. If your camera is here, the corner, and you're having the camera here, you could have a longer ruler and rotate the camera, you know. But it's fine. You can be upside down.
How do you mean rotate the camera?
Well, rotate the phone.
Oh, I see. So turn it to its side rather than have it.
Or no, or it could be vertical. You could turn it 180 degrees. It should work.
Oh, okay.
But don't worry about it. I mean, we could for next time. You probably have the camera lens, right?
Yeah.
Closest to your belly. Which is why it's upside down.
Yes.
If you rotate it this way, then it would be right side up. But that's okay. We can do it next time.
Yeah, the ruler I have is the one ruler that I have that's rigid is only about a foot long.
Okay.
So
well, next time we can get a bigger stick.
Let me give it a try, though.
Okay.
I'm just gonna have to untape this.
But this system is really, really good because your hands are free. You can arrange it so that the screen of your phone is below your eye level, so you can see what you're showing, and you can also
Good Lord, I'm directionally.
You're challenged, are you?
I'm directionally challenged, but if I were to,
Okay.
I see what I can do here. I think.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's right side up now.
Just give me a second
So
to take this thing down. Where'd that tape go?
So if this turns out to work really well, put this in your memory banks. So
yes.
we can do this again.
Let's see.
Perfect. So far. It also it's good because there's no shadow of the tripod or anything. It can work pretty good. Yay. So I'm very happy to see you're posting again on Instagram because I've missed your posts, and when I find something that I think you're going to be interested on Instagram, I have to send you a text to make you look at it because
Yeah, I've turned all my notifications off for that.
It's probably good. I mean, if you do decide to look at things that I sent you, I think I try to be
Yeah.
pretty good about not sending you things that are stupid.
Yes, I think the quality of what you send me is generally of a higher quality than what I would normally find.
I won't. I promise not to send you little cat videos.
Yes.
So, what made you decide to draw an apple and some horses and some mountains?
I mean, just things I was thinking about.
Let
Uh,
me. I'm going to show people what you did, so people can see what we're talking about. If that's okay.
Yeah.
I have to find where you are here.
Well, I'm right here in my apartment.
Yes, that's true. You're here right in your apartment. So here is the picture. And there's close-ups of horses and mountains and apples. If you have to kind of look hard to find where they are. Here's an apple. Is there only one apple? There's two. I count two.
There's a few.
I see
They're
two.
just very small at the bottom.
And I see lots of hooves and legs, and the horse heads are at least 3 or 4. It's one of these pictures where you haven't chewed the food completely for the viewer. The viewer has to do a little bit of work. So I'm going through my house and trying to throw things out. I recently visited with a man who he and his wife both had health issues, and the Department of Human Services decided that they could no longer live in the house that they lived in for 40 years or more, and shoved them into a 1-bedroom nursing home instead of a 2-story house with a studio in the backyard and a cat and lots of art and lots of books. And where am I going with this? I was thinking about, and he was telling about all of the trauma that his daughters had to deal with this forced removal. And I'm thinking about my future, and my niece and nephew are going to have to dig through my debris field when I am run over by a car. And I thought I might make it a little easier by getting rid of some stuff now. And so I'm trying to. You're going back to Plan B, Plan A again?
I'm trying to improve things and making things worse as usual.
I think if you can have it stay exactly where it is, I think it's fine.
I suppose I'll just need to get a longer ruler.
Another thing you could do, if you have a ruler that's straight, you can, tape this part of the phone that's further away from you down, and then shove a little kneaded eraser or something underneath the phone under the ruler to have it aim a little bit more toward your belly than straight down. It's a little harder to read or to see the thing, but there's a way that you can do it.
Yeah, we'll make do with what we have now, because we've already spent 15 minutes trying to figure out.
Well, it's a good 15 minutes spent, because someone else that's going to try to do this will learn from our mistakes.
Yes, I suppose so. Okay, let's see what we're doing here.
Anyway, so I'm going through my stuff and deciding, do I need this box of X, Y, or Z? And I've been when I see a box of X, I think, oh, I bet I know what I want to do with this. And I gave all my oil paints to my neighbor. I would have given them to you, Russell, but you don't live close.
Yes, and I'm in an apartment where oil painting is
Discouraged.
it would be discouraged. Yes, the entire floor is carpeted. There's very little room.
Yeah.
So I've been mainly doing works on paper and trying to do stuff that will fold up quite easily.
Uh-huh. Well, that's again important to know what you can make, what you can store, and don't do egg temperas or miniature painting with gouache or something.
Yes, I've been thinking about doing gouache. I've got some acrylics here, but I've mostly been working in ink and graphite and things like that, trying to get better with just really with ink, because it's a fascinating medium, as you know quite well.
I tried to do watercolor when I was in Minnesota, and I don't know. I'll blame my materials. The brushes I had, what's wrong with them? They didn't make a point, or they didn't. They made a point sometimes, and they didn't make a point another time, and they went this way when I thought they would go that way. And I know that I would learn the tricks if I paid more time doing it, but I just got frustrated. So one of the things that I'm dealing with is one of my neighbors. There's a few neighbors actually in my building that are architects, and they were clearing out their office, and one of them had books and books and books full of furniture that they would suggest to their clients, for their fancy house or their fancy office.
So like little catalogs and such.
Little catalogs, and these are 8x10 glossy pictures of in this case, it's a little settee. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to draw pictures of cats sitting here, clawing at the settee or doing whatever cats do? And I realized, yes, this has been done before. Saul Steinberg did some beautiful drawings on top of photographs of chairs and stuff like that. But I thought, well,
that never stopped any Renaissance artist from doing the Madonna a million times.
So let me just see but this is sort of glossy paper, so I'm not really sure that this is going to work. But I thought, well, let's, rather than throwing all of them out and then regretting it the day after tomorrow when I suddenly want to try it, let's just see if they work for this particular purpose. And so let's say there's, God, I'm so retarded. Russell, did you see what I just tried to do?
No, I did not.
I tried to do this to make it bigger.
No.
I do it all the time.
They've trained us too well.
They trained us too well.
I mean, I've heard stories of toddlers trying to do that to pictures, because they were born at a time when iPads were a thing, and they've learned from the time they were 2 that motion makes the screen zoom in. So I think we're all turning into those children.
We are turning.
We're all iPad kids now.
So I just put a sack on this pen, and why does it seem like the sack is broken? It doesn't. It's very funny. Writing on paper, it's fine. Writing on this, the ink pours out of it onto this paper. And the paper is glossy.
Well, I mean, if if it's a glossy paper, that's probably the reason that the ink seems to pour out because.
Yeah.
But that offers that opportunity that you just have there.
Yeah, I can have fun with it. Uh,
But
if I wanted to.
I
Um,
mean, I found, and I made the mistake of buying the Bristol board that was on sale.
uh-huh.
You know what I look for when I'm doing Bristol board is something that has more of a vellum surface,
Yeah.
right? So, because I found
You want it smoother?
no, well, I want it smoother, but I don't want it super smooth. So
Okay.
what I mean here is what I've got here is this really smooth stuff. And
Yeah.
if I'm working with this Madman's tool, which is just the 0.10 repeatograph,
Yeah.
it's great for that because you're working with a cheese wire line, and if you put it on anything with any kind of a tooth, it's going to grab up and seize, and you're not going to get a good dark. But if I'm working with a crow quill, for example,
Mm-hmm.
the ink is going to come out, and I can't get that fine kind of control that I necessarily want unless
Mm-hmm.
I'm using acrylic ink,
Yeah.
which is basically like molasses.
Paint. Yeah, it's like syrup.
It looks wonderful, but you know, and they say you can use it for dip pens. It's just a terrible idea because you're going to have a lot of cleaning to do, and it's going to seize up unless you're washing your pen every 10 seconds.
You need to have a an assistant to have 5 pens each. You do a line until it's time to dip it again, and he gives you a pre-dipped or an undipped pen, and then you give him the one that
And then
used, and then he'll clean it off and then dip it again. You also have to shake the goddamn bottle of the acrylic ink because it settles.
it does settle. I've found
Yeah.
even with the PH Martins, that's the Black Star, which is a nice sort of ink. But even that I have to shake, otherwise it comes out and it's not as highly pigmented.
Yeah, it's when I used white ink, white gouache ink, or white. Um, it was white acrylic ink, and I had about a minute. Well, maybe 3 minutes. I had maybe 3 minutes to dip the pen, draw, dip the pen, draw, dip the pen, draw, and then I might have to fix, clean the pen off so it was without any goopy ink, and I could maybe draw for another minute without having to shake the bottle.
Mm.
And then I had to do it over again. So there was a lot of labor that went into that, which could be done by an illegal alien that I could pay under the table $1 an hour for, right?
Yes.
Can't do that anymore.
No, that's
only the rich people can do that.
Yeah, only the rich people can afford a lackey now.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to the good old days when your average working Joe could afford a crony to do his dirty work?
Yeah.
Whatever happened to the days when even a schmo like me could afford to exploit the undervalued labor of others?
It's very true. What happened to those days? Well, socialism and
Marxism
did away with that.
Yes, they got rid of all these things with their stupid ideas about human rights and standards of living.
So let's say I just am looking at the picture of the naked man you drew over there. Is that from life or a
That's just from a computer program.
generated
Yeah,
thing?
it's
Okay, well, I'm going to pretend that
that he's
it,
reclining.
that it was that you and I were in the life drawing class together where that guy was posing
That's something that we ought to do if we ever get a chance.
to
We
it,
need to do a life drawing class together.
so I told you that in fact it's happening today. I probably should see if I can I was distracted by the word dong. So
I'm sorry, I did
there,
not say the word
there's
dong.
his
I don't
there's
know.
his there's his dong. Anyway, I the place down the street from me, which is a life drawing studio.
Mhm.
On Tuesday nights, they for $15 you can go in and you can draw from 6:30 until 9 o'clock, and they have food, of which maybe you could partake of one item that doesn't have.
They'll have carrots. I just can't put it.
It's it's a lot of. I mean, there are vegetarian options, but there are also cheeses, and some people don't eat cheese and all of the kind of stuff. So, but anyway, for $15, it's a great place, and you have the usual routine of the first 40 minutes or 35 minutes are quick half a minute poses, 1 minute poses, 3 minute poses, and then there's a break. And then the second round has maybe 3 10-minute poses. And then the last round has maybe two 20-minute poses or however it adds up. And it's really kind of fun. People have never drawn before they go there. Some people go there just for the social aspect of not seeing a naked person, but seeing other creative people draw, and they'll try to draw too. Um, and but today they're doing something kind of interesting. They're and it's happening from noon to 4. They're having a life drawing model class for people that want to be models,
Hmm.
nude models. And they're expressly asking for people who are underrepresented in Western art, or probably all of art. So
Yeah.
they want the trans people, they want fat people. I guess they haven't ever seen Rubens or or or
Okay. Yeah.
Renoir or something, or Botero, but they want heavy people, they want really skinny people, they want people that are missing limbs, they want people they want to include people who are not normally you wouldn't normally think of as a model.
No.
And I think it's really kind of fun.
I mean,
I would love to be there for the class of teaching the models, and maybe I might write him a note asking whether I can join, because I would like to illustrate that. I'd like to do drawings of that happening, and um, I'd like to maybe also suggest things to a model that they might forget. I mean, one of the things I love to tell a model who's posing live for me on camera, let's say, is can you rotate your body a little bit to the left so that the shadows fall in an interesting way? Or can you do something? I'm not rude usually, but can you do something that isn't as boring as what you're doing right now?
Yeah. Can you not sit statically? Uh,
I mean, we want them to sit still. We
you
want them
want
to
them to
make a
sit
pose
still,
that's
but you
still.
don't
But,
want
but
you don't want them to look like they just they're slubbed out in front of the television.
yes, even though that can be pretty good too.
That
It
can be
depends.
good, but
It it it, it,
only if they're like, oh, I've just eaten too many chips,
you
and
yeah, you don't want to have people look like they're on an autopsy table.
no,
You don't want to have people look like they're in front of a uh, firing squad. You want them, you want their left part of their body maybe to do something different from the right part of the body. Um, and uh, I usually try to say, think of yourself as being inside a sphere, and try to have your head, your 2 feet, and one arm at least be in each of the four hemispheres of the globe. Have your feet far apart or one in front of the other. Be very aware of the three dimensionality of the pose. That way, the room, this room is surrounded. The model's in the middle on a pedestal, and then there's bleachers and easels all around it. And you want to have the pose be interesting for everyone. Um,
yeah,
and and how do you do that? Um, and it's not easy, uh, but there is a way to do it. Um, you remember Apollo, right? From
yes, and
he knows exactly what he's doing in his poses, and they look exactly like his sculptures. His sculptures are exactly. You've seen his sculptures, right?
yes, I have.
And he's one of the best sculptors I know. Figurative sculptors. His sculptures are absolutely beautiful, and they follow that rule. There's, in fact, each of the fingers when he poses, every finger is pointing in a different direction. Just doing a hand, close up of his hand follows that rule. It's not boring.
Yeah, it's all about the dynamism of it.
Dynamic pose and filling the space of whatever the space is around the hand or the body. Um, uh, so anyway, I think uh, I think you would enjoy this class. The guy that runs the class is a little chatty. I think he wants his finger in the pie a little bit more than maybe he should. But he does give suggestions to people that maybe haven't drawn before, or in a long time. Use only straight lines. Draw the negative space. Draw only shadows. He also has these fun little things where, okay, now trade your drawing or trade places with the person next to you, or trade the sketchbooks and work on the other person's drawing. And if you can, try to use the same kind of marks that they're using. Try to complete the drawing in their style. And I've used that when I was teaching. I used that assignment, and it was really fun.
Yeah,
I think that students maybe didn't think it was a good idea, but some of them did. this is kind of cool. I have to do a good drawing now. My drawing is shitty. Now I have to figure out how to do it well, or whatever. But so you're drawing a full figure Dane there.
We had the conversation on Rubens, and so
Rubenesque it is.
Yes, Rubenesque it is, or at least something like that, with the long flowing hair and the abundant corpulent form.
Corpulent.
I was thinking about Rubens the other day because I had just actually finished up a catalog book. It's called Delacroix and the Birth of Modern Art.
Mm-hmm.
It was made for a catalog for a show, and pretty compelling. But obviously Rubens is going to come up if you're talking about Delacroix. And it occurred to me that Rubens, at heart, if he were born today, if he existed in the age of in the 20th century, let's say, or even the 21st, he would be a flower child. Rubens, he would definitely be a flower child. I know he was Catholic, but that hasn't stopped some people. But if you look at his paintings, a lot of his, there's the hunting scenes and all, whatever, he does those, but those are more like fantasies.
Uh-huh.
But, you look at his political paintings, it's all about how much he hates war and how much he loves sex, right? Because
I have to look at his paintings more often.
Yeah, if you look at like most of his allegorical paintings that have to do with war, usually it's I might see if I can't. Usually it's you've got, oh Lord, you've got the guy in the Roman helmet.
Yeah.
And that's and he's Mars, and he's angry, and he's trying to rush off, right? And you've got Venus, who is again one of those Rubens ladies, and either she's failing to stop him or she is stopping him. Like you have paintings like Venus and Mars, or Venus trying to stop Mars from going to war, and then you have paintings where it's Venus disarming Mars,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all about that. And then at the end of his life, what does he do? He retires. He's rich, so he retires to his villa out in the country, and he just draws his beautiful, corpulent 16-year-old wife. Over and over again. Then he paints the landscape. I mean, he would have been a great hippie, all the way down to having very questionable sexual tastes.
Yes. In what way questionable?
He was just I suppose you can say, oh, it was the practice at the time, but his second wife at least, was much younger than him. She was like 16, and he married her after his first wife, Isabella Brandt, died. She had died some years before, but Rubens eventually marries the other one, whose name I can't recall, but he marries her at 16. He's like 40 or 50 years old at that time.
Yeah.
So,
So he was just was what they would call today a pedophile.
Well, sort of.
Except in those days it was.
I think pedophile is a bit maybe. So in those days it would have been a normal practice.
Yeah.
I'll caveat it with that. That doesn't make it a good practice, but it was a normal practice.
It was normal, yes.
Yeah, but I would say he was he was more of a predator than a
A
pedophile.
predator is probably good, but
Yeah,
again, that was the practice. The dames were there for the guys to use and abuse.
yes.
Um,
And I'm
so
thinking she also had a
I
good
I
down.
added water to my drawing with limited results, um, but it was kind of fun. Uh,
You know, an interesting thing I actually learned about Delacroix just from uh, reading that book was how indebted he was to British painters.
yeah.
That you're there's a sigh of frustration.
Well, no, I'm just trying to figure out who. It took me a second to remember who Delacroix was,
Oh, right.
country he was from. Then
Liberty
I was
and the People,
then I
Lion.
was then I was trying to think, okay, well, what British painters were there that was doing anything at the same time? And it was what, Turner and Constable.
Yeah, Turner and Constable, they were influential, like especially for the Barbizon school.
Yeah,
But apparently, the one that really made him, that really changed him, was a person who I really hadn't heard of before,
yeah.
because he died at like 26 years old. A fella named Richard Parks Bonington.
Okay.
He was primarily a watercolorist,
Yeah.
which was as I've learned, unheard of. Right? They did not do watercolors in France until
No.
it
No.
was introduced it by the British.
Yeah.
So Bonington gets to France because his dad basically goes there to work, and he studies at the academy, but he's doing mostly watercolors.
Mm-hmm.
Delacroix was just sort of completely amazed by that technique because it does things that he hadn't seen done in oil painting. Uh,
So, but so it was a technique rather than subject matter that he was
yeah,
learning. Yeah.
because Richard Parks Bonington was doing mostly
Yeah.
landscapes, and Delacroix did landscapes, but they weren't his main thing.
I mean, I think of that of all British, British.
Yeah, all the British, or at least the famous British painters. There's Joshua Reynolds who's doing,
portraits.
yeah, he was doing portraits and such. But Bonington also did some genre scenes, things,
Okay.
historical figures, stuff like
Okay.
that. But
Okay.
like I said, it was primarily that because with watercolor, as you know, because you practiced it before.
Well, I screamed at my watercolors. Yes, but yes.
Yeah, fair enough. It's the lack of finish and the sense of touch that really counts in it, right?
Yeah.
So what people really value in a watercolor is that sense of spontaneity and that
Yeah.
sense of impression.
Yeah.
We're starting to make connections, and Eugène Delacroix saw that, and he starts practicing watercolor, but then what he's really doing is he actually starts changing the way he's working with oil paints. He's adding it thick in some areas, but then he's also thinning it out and mixing it with varnish so that it dries really quickly, so he can get that watercolor type with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would think that if you water down, turpentine down, thin it down, watercolor, you can get something that looks pretty. Oil color, you can get something that looks pretty watercolory. But cool. What are you drawing now?
Oh,
Venus trying to convince.
Yes. I've been slowly trying to work away on pen and ink drawings,
Uh-huh.
as you know, especially when you have a 9 to 5, since they're very easy to access and to get in front of you, but they take so damn long unless you're just trying to be very quick and spontaneous with them.
And which is this? I'm sorry, what medium did you say? Pen and ink?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least when you're doing it, in a certain way.
Well, I'm trying to, I've looked at a lot of the drawings I did for Pen World when I was doing these beautiful, well, I thought they were beautiful, and they were beautiful illustrations for Pen World. And I, they took a hell of a long time
Yeah.
to not just to make them. Once I figured out what I wanted to draw, it took a long time to actually draw them because I was doing cross hatch, measured, dark, more hatching, more. And I thought, oh God, I must have had more time on my hands or something, or cared more than I do now. I want to draw very loosey goosey and have a lot of fun not being careful, I guess. And I don't know. I should probably try to remember how to be careful again.
I mean, there's it's an interesting thing because when you're working like that, when you're working carefully, right, you're always thinking, damn, I really want to loosen up. And then when you loosen up, it's like, is anybody going to pay attention to this? I should put a bit more detail into it. So that's, at least that's a challenge that I find I face. You can understand, for example, why the Impressionists started doing what they were doing, probably because they were just so damn tired of having to render and worry about finish.
Mm-hmm. I'm watching. What are you using? A crow quill again?
No, this isn't a crow quill. This is
but it's a dip pen.
What number it is? It's sort of
it's a dip nib.
Yeah, it's a dip
Okay.
nib. It's
Okay.
just sort of broader, and I think they label it as a student pen.
Mm-hmm.
On a nice vellum paper. It can produce a pretty wide variety of lines. On smooth paper, it just comes out, blobs. But that's all right for my purposes because I'm not really doing anything.
You're just chatting with me as we're drawing here.
Yes. I'm being loosey-goosey.
You're being loosey-goosey, and that's fine by me. I'm trying to draw a guy sitting on his ankles. What do you call that when you're sort of squatting down like this?
Squatting, I guess.
Squatting. Oh, I guess that's squatting.
That's what I've always called it.
So there's his junk.
An important detail.
Well, it can be. If you're drawing something to offend conservative religious people, junk is an important aspect.
Yeah. I feel like they would probably be perhaps a little even more offended by seeing a vagina.
Probably.
Because these conservative men, they love penises.
They probably do.
And
they'd probably be more upset about me ruining a perfectly good drawing of a couch, a good photograph of a couch. That's what they'd really be pissed off about.
That's what J.D. Vance likes.
He likes oh, that's right. He does like couches.
He does like couches,
Maybe
and I
maybe
refuse to let those rumors go.
yes. I'll oh, did you hear the thing that they're posting about Mike Johnson now?
What are they posting about Mike Johnson?
He in order to uh he and his son have decided to be, each other's big brother.
Oh, I did hear about that.
To
Yes, they're watching each other, and they have that app. They have this wonderful app, very good, healthy Christian app
to watch each other.
to watch each other to make certain that they're
The,
being accountable and that baby boy and daddy ain't watching no pornography.
they ain't watching no pornography. But the other thing that's creepy, I'll quote it so people don't think I'm making this up. This was far creepier. Mike Johnson wash genitals.
Oh dear.
Okay, you want to do the math?
I mean, I could do the math, but I would only come down to two figures. Or so, and one of them would be one, and then two.
There are two images that come into mind, and they're in the same place at the same
They're in
time.
the same place at the same time, and we can't think of them as separate, but really they're one sort of connected. And so, go ahead. What?
Well, I'm just trying to find it here.
Oh, okay.
Mike Johnson. Son urinate.
Well,
it gets even worse.
It is even worse than I thought.
At least as of last year, according to Vanity Fair, they share each other's phone history or whatever, monitor each other's porn usage in an effort to ensure neither was watching any.
Yes, I knew about that.
Okay.
Do you think Mars would have been circumcised?
No.
He was Roman, so
a Roman god, unless it was.
I suppose not.
There's a myth about someone chewing it off or something.
Oh, really? I've never.
If there is a myth about that. I'm not finding the part about holding each other. It's in the search.
No, I know that they hold each other accountable. Maybe one. I mean, don't keep me in suspense for too long. Where does the urine enter in?
Well, this is another part of it.
Does it enter into his mouth?
No.
Okay.
It's just they're holding each other's winkies as they pee to try to
try and make certain that they're not touching themselves. Am I on the right track?
No, it's I'm trying to I finally found. I'm just getting past the ads here.
All the things, having to watch ads while you're just trying to figure out the sexual malpractices of
There's nothing necessarily wrong with what they're doing. It's just fucked up.
Yes, I mean,
he's perfect. Speaker Mike Johnson has come under fire from several hardline Republicans, but one GOP senator. Okay, where's the rest of the thing? Continue. I don't want to continue there. God damn
it. Web design has become increasingly more hostile.
Yes. It just won't let me.
It won't let you see what you want to see. They want to make certain that
I
you're.
type it in and it wants me to go somewhere else to see it.
Yes.
Hello, Atomic Elf. Maybe he can help us. So, Atomic Elf, there was a report recently that I saw online, which of course is all true, about Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, monitors the porn his son watches, and his son monitors the porn that Mike Johnson watches, or they will keep each other from watching porn.
Yeah, I believe it's the latter. It would be I feel like them monitoring what kind of pornography they watch would be a little bit. Well, I don't feel like that would be a terribly productive practice, because if the idea is to keep you on the up and up, or maybe I suppose not so much up, but hanging
keeping each other flaccid.
Keeping each other flaccid, yes.
No, actually, Russell.
I mean, I would be flaccid all the time if Mike Johnson
it
my father.
The word is pronounced actually flaccid with an X sounding, FLACCID. The two C's create an X sound, so it's not flaccid. It's actually flaccid.
Well, I don't usually use that term in general conversation, but now I suppose when I will refer to something as flaccid, I will pronounce it correctly.
And so it's so rare that I can correct you in anything because you're so goddamn brilliant. And it might be one of those words that has been so mispronounced for decades that it might end up being correct.
Well, it's sort of like the word epic, right? But not AEPIC, but EPOCH.
Epoch.
Yeah. And you look at it and you think epoch, right? But I think it's supposed to be pronounced epic because of the damn British, I'd say.
Those damn Britishers. And Atomic Elf always pronounces it flaccid as well.
I mean, that's always how I've pronounced it, but I wouldn't be surprised were it not pronounced flaccid, because it would. I mean, that would be one of the instances where the English language makes sense, because you'd be following.
See, this is incorrect.
Oh,
flaccid.
See, they're saying it's wrong. That's incorrect.
Where's your source?
Flaccid is the preferred pronunciation, but flaccid is all but completely acceptable.
I see. So it is basically like epoch and epoch, or so yes.
Merriam-Webster. So the Grammarphobia blog, is it flaccid or flaccid? See, this has been the cutting.
It's been on the cutting edge of
drama and so.
Oh, now we're having a Salvador Dali show.
Yeah. We'll tell everyone else.
Yes. I work at a museum, everyone else. I believe that's just Atomic Elf right now.
There's maybe someone else watching, but
I see.
Or they will watch, but
so everyone who
will watch.
We're having a Salvador Dali show. Now, to be perfectly honest, I've never particularly liked Salvador Dali.
Yeah.
And now that I've had the chance to study him and study his work, I still don't particularly like Salvador Dali.
Yep.
So, I mean, the first time is because I don't find his graphic work compelling. I understand. I've explained it as a to other people as such. So, it'd be like,
So you're just judging it by that one element. You're not looking at his
first,
paintings or his sculptures or.
so I don't know that he did any sculptures. I think he did installations. I haven't studied much more than his paintings and his prints. The way that I explained it essentially went like this. I'm a vegan, so immediately the audience leaves. But so that'd be like if you showed me, I don't know, a Wagyu steak or a prime rib, right? And it was like from a five-star Michelin restaurant, if such a thing exists in the world, and it was cooked to perfection. It's like, I understand that what you're doing is really good and that it's really good on its own terms. I just don't want the ingredients you're using here, buddy. Give me a head of broccoli. But that's the way it is, and de gustibus non est disputandum.
Yeah.
Anyway, but what I've if you actually look into his biography, he's not a very pleasant guy.
No, I think I can't imagine him being very pleasant.
No, I mean, especially when he's starting to support Francisco Franco.
Yeah,
he had his reasons because the communists basically tortured some of his family members.
Yeah.
So you can sort of understand on that basis, and he was big on his Catalonian heritage, so he's probably a bit nationalistic about it. But then when he starts commenting, probably trying to be provocative, but still it's weird.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things he said was that he quote, "I always dreamed of Hitler as a woman, and I saw his flesh as extremely milky white, and and he's talking about how Hitler was the perfect masochist who would destroy all of Europe in order to harm himself in the end, and he's getting into." And then he writes a letter to Andre Breton saying, "Oh, the solution is to start a new religion based on surrealist principles." And he says it's going to be like scientific in its dogmatism. It's going to be dialectical and materialist, but it's also going to be Hitlerian and Wagnerian in its emotional content.
Mm-hmm.
So he's starting to get weird ideas around the 1930s.
Yeah.
So, I don't know that he was a Nazi, but he's getting pretty close to being a fascist, right?
Yeah.
The person I actually would compare him to, I'm sorry we're getting onto the fascists now. I mean, we've already been talking about Mike Johnson, so the person I would compare him to is like Jordan Peterson. Just somebody completely unserious who isn't saying outright, "I'm a fascist," who isn't saying outright, other races, things like that. But he's heavily dog whistling this stuff. And it's like, how serious are you about this? Right. And even if you're not serious about it, even if you're just even if this is all just a joke to you, it's not a joke to the people who are actually listening to you.
Yeah.
But for all of that, Dali did some pretty good paintings. I will say that.
Yeah, it's like what they said about Wagner. His music is better than it sounds.
Yes.
I think that's the way Dali's art is better
Yes.
than it looks. I just don't. I'm not pulled into surrealism that
No.
much. I prefer Max Ernst's surrealism over Dali. I just find his sort of weird, or De Chirico, is he a surrealist or is
Uh,
he more of a something else?
he labeled himself a metaphysical painter,
Okay.
which is like its whole thing that I don't really particularly understand because I haven't looked into it very much. Actually, most of the surrealists looked at Giorgio de Chirico, got the exact like wrong ideas about it, and based their painting off of his. Right? There's this story about Yves Tanguy, who supposedly he was riding the bus. He sees a de Chirico painting hanging in a window, and he jumps off the bus and goes off to look at it, and he just starts painting. Like he never went to school for it. He just
Uh,
starts painting. And then if you look at Salvador Dali's early work, he's basically copying Yves Tanguy.
uh, well,
Uh,
I don't know. I find
Before
his
he's copying Yves Tanguy, he's copying Picasso and George Braque.
yeah.
And before that, he's just doing, impressionist stuff. Sorry, I got on to
That's fine.
you got me back on
This is
the
why it's so much fun talking with you, because we end up, we go into the gutter, we come out of the gutter, we do this, we do something else. I don't know what I thought I had read. Now I might be entirely wrong.
Uh-huh.
Was that in order to discourage his son from
Oh yes, we're back on my
masturbation,
Sorry.
where he would hold his son's winky
Ah,
when the son peed, so that the son wouldn't. Now maybe that could have happened when he was 1 year old or something, but it sounded like it was.
that would make it arguably worse if that were to have happened.
in your.
Well, my 1-year-old son could get the wrong idea, so I'm just gonna supervise him while he holds this dangerous tool. Yes. I truly do not know what to say at that point, except that I wish they would stop proving Freud right.
You just hate that. You hate when that happens.
Listen. Marxism and Freudian theory often gets commingled. It's not unheard of. I'm not a particularly big fan of Freudian theory and psychoanalysis because I think it's kind of campato per aria. But whenever they start doing shit like this, it just makes it seem so much more correct than I'd like it to be.
Okay, so here's Mike Johnson makes son hold each other's penis when they pee to make sure they don't masturbate. This is, and someone said that's the creepiest thing I've ever heard.
Where is that from?
This might be entirely, I don't know. It's
like I think it's very funny that rumor exists, but you as a person who's trained even minimally in history, you always got to check your sources.
I suppose one does. Normally I don't go down to those dark alleyways of the internet.
You don't enter those particular rabbit holes.
And it somehow it popped up on from a place that seemed friendly as opposed to crazy.
I thought this was a clean space. I thought the space I was entering was uncontaminated.
Uncontaminated.
You're telling me about Mike Johnson holding baby boy's winky? Come on now.
Anyway.
but my coworker, actually technically my boss, she suggested to me the other day that perhaps I ought to do a podcast where I was, quote, speaking frankly about art history, because I have the tendency, as you found,
As I know.
sometimes to speak about it and to use
Speak about it first and think later.
well, speak about it first and think later, but also to use language that is not terribly scholarly.
Yeah.
You know,
Or words that are in a foreign language, so I'd have to look up or ask what they mean, like you
yes,
just did. So,
yes. But her suggestion was that I do a podcast where I speak frankly about art history, and the only reason that I would do it is because I came up with a hilarious title, which I
okay.
want to share with you to see if you approve. The title would be "Getting Frank with Russell."
I think that's fine.
And I proposed at the very end that at the very end the guest and I would ask, have we got Frank yet? Did we get Frank yet?
Yes. Where's Frank? Is he?
Have we got him? Did we get him?
Did we get him? Is he in cuffs?
Yes, it would be sort of like a Carmen Sandiego kind of situation.
No. I think it sounds fun, and you're. I think you should do a podcast. I think you're you certainly have all of the factoids in your brain, but you also are able to explain them in a way that is not always coming straight in. You're coming in from the side, and you're adding another factoid that you know from something else, and you're combining them together. And I think that that's very refreshing to hear. I think in addition to what you say, though, you ought to have a slideshow of the pieces you're talking about.
Yes, I would
zoom in, and
preparation.
You'd show the pictures that the painter did of Mars and Venus, and you'd show the pictures of the British watercolorist, and I think that would all be great.
Yes, it's something that I'll consider.
No. Who's the mustachioed naked man behind
Venus there?
Behind Venus. Venus de Willendorf. Venus de Willendorf.
She looks like a mix between Venus of Willendorf and Porky Pig.
Yeah, there's a little that you'd hardly look at that and think of a fertility symbol.
No, but I think there's something to the eyes there, though, because I really like that. You know the early expressionist type of eye, where they just did this, right? Because they're all architecture students that decided they wanted to be painters because they were all actually hippies. But I'm not kidding about that. They actually were flower children, but I'm not going to get into that. This mustachioed man started out, I was thinking of Rubens, who had a magnificent mustache, but really he's turned into sort of any model.
You've turned him into. There's a slight British World War I major.
Yes, World War I, exactly. That's
in his bath. His subaltern has yet to bring in the towels.
Yes, he's got a slight muscular to him, but he's
entirely pasty white.
Yes,
underneath his uniform, his face is bronzed, of course.
He's coming in after walking around with the mad dogs in the midday sun.
And he's put down his little riding crop, and he's
gone in to take to take the waters,
take his weekly bath
to clean the dust of barbarian
of the dirt of the poor people off of him, and he's waiting in the increasingly cold bath water for his subaltern, who has decided to join the enemy.
Yes.
And
if we just reason with this Hitler fellow, maybe.
yes, that. Oh dear. Thought I had a big black bug on me, but it turned out it was just a piece of rubber sack sticking on my or in the sub-Saharan Africa, where's his hat, says Atomic Elf.
Oh,
he didn't have to wear his hat while he was in the tub. He's in the tent.
Yes, his hat must be, let's say it's hanging over here behind Mars there. The god of war, very, very appropriate. I haven't seen, I'm very terrible at drawing from memory. Everything that I'd come up with.
Well, you've got
helmet.
You've made it a baseball hat. Just make the brim that you see in the front, have it go all the way around the hat.
Oh, I see.
A little bit wider.
Yes, he's
really wide at their back, though.
Yes.
Really wide
wide, like that.
Way wide. Another half as much as the hat is.
Now that makes no sense. Why would for a hat designed for being
way back? Yeah, further back than that.
Further back than that.
There, that's about right.
You're starting to get into the Salvador Dali territory where he's extending people's heads and propping them up.
No, you want to have it so when you're marching or you're walking on the or you're on your horse, you want the back of your head not to get sunburned. The back of your neck.
Oh, is that the reason that they had it? Normally I would think one would prefer to shade their face.
Well, they shade their face too, but it's the some of them. It's like okay, no, I don't want that. So here's the front. It has a little peak, and then the back. Some of the back. I mean, this one goes. It's sort of the same shape, but I'll find one that I'm thinking of. Sometimes they're quite much bigger on the back. Okay, images. Oh, maybe I was exaggerating a little bit. Maybe they're not, but you see, they do stick out a little bit more on the back.
Yes, I see what you mean.
And I've got a pith helmet. I have this one right here. It's a Nazi pith helmet from the Afrika Korps. But there were some helmets that had a bigger back side of them, but I can't seem to find any here. Now these are all pretty evenly. See, here's one pith helmet. This has a sort of a bigger back end.
Yes, I see.
To it.
So that you wouldn't. I mean, it makes sense. You didn't want your son. While you were riding your horse, surveying all of the
carnage, the dead people,
all of the carnage and the dead people. Yes, but also making sure that the fellows that you hired to carry all of your luggage. You're not dropping anything.
Yes.
You don't want your neck to get sunburned.
Yes, bring the billiard table. You're causing the balls to roll off. Just try to hold it straight.
Now, do not let that mattress drag.
Yes, and that pianoforte. Just keep that nice and level. So, did you hear that the not the Shackleton, which is the Franklin uh, expedition to find the Northwest Passage? So the two ships or one ship, I don't know. I think they all sank, but there was one that took a while to sink before the ice broke it apart,
Mhm.
and uh, the um, the sailors all tried to walk south to get to somewhere warmer through the Canadian wilderness, Arctic wilderness, and they dragged a lifeboat with them for a long time. And the lifeboat was filled with things that they needed, like their silverware set and their pipe organ and all this stuff that was useless to them. And part of it they realized was when they found the dead bodies eventually, they realized they all had mercury poisoning from the cans, the
Oh, from the cans of
the tinned food they had. So they were going mental. They were going absolutely crazy, and lead poisoning or whatever it was. They were going crazy,
yes.
and they, I'm sure, could come up with a perfectly good reason why we have to carry this case of sterling silverware, so that when we have our banquet.
Yes. I mean, how are we going to come back to civilization without the duvet?
without, without the pump organ. Oh,
Yes.
look what I found. I was trying to clean my desk, and look what I found. Remember this?
Oh Lord, what is that?
It's a drawing of a heart
With
with
straps about it.
with hose clamps. You and I made a live video to send to my friend Mark, who you met the one time you were here. Remember the bookbinder?
Yes, I believe so. It's been
And
quite a while.
and you and he went to the fog.
Oh yes, now I recall.
And anyway, he was having heart surgery, and you and I drew pictures, sort of a get well card for him, and we drew uh,
Hearts.
hearts being repaired,
Yes.
and I have almost all the drawings I did with you on when we do things live like this. I have them in a folder. I mean, I won't. Maybe I'll add the ones I just did. They're not very good, obviously, um, but it was a really sweet thing we did for Mark. He really appreciated it.
Well,
Uh,
if you can't make somebody happy every once in a while by drawing a picture, what's it worth?
so here's Heart Repair. We did it 3 years ago. We streamed it, and it was 37 minutes. And let's try to find one where. And so I'm turning the. I would prefer it if there was a little. I'm turning the sound down so I can just trying to find. Here's the drawing you did. You're doing it in color.
Huh.
And I'm drawing it this way.
Yes.
And anyway, Mark recently, I haven't talked to him since he's been back, but he recently went in for another very serious surgery for his heart again. And his wife sent things saying thanks for all your well wishes, and Mark is doing fine. And he's someone who I need to talk to more often. He's such a good friend, and whenever we meet, it's like we've we've always been together. It's like
Yeah,
we didn't realize we haven't talked in a year
you
or
haven't
two.
been gone in years. It's just you
But
went on the street and
he and I used to share a studio here in Boston for about a year, um, and he worked at a bookstore, and I would visit him on every week. I'd stop in and see him at work, and um, it was really really fun. And but he moved away to Western Massachusetts, where he's a bookbinder. And I don't get to Western Massachusetts very often, and he doesn't get here very often. But he was here having heart surgery, and I kept texting his wife, asking whether guests were allowed, and she never got back to me. So I think she was a little worried about
overstimulating him.
overstressing him, overstimulating. Not that I'm much of a stimulant, but
Well, getting you don't want him
doing anything outside of what he's supposed to do to get better. But
wanting to remain absolutely calm.
yeah, but oh, he thought your picture looked like Sean Connery a little bit, the one of the mustached man.
Huh? Has Sean Connery ever worn a mustache? I
Oh
can't.
yeah.
Uh,
And he also, and then when he stopped being bald, stopped wearing a wig, he was very happily being bald, and he played. Actually, I have a Sean Connery story to tell you.
well, it's not him being 007, is it? Because
No, uh, he. So he did look like this sometimes,
okay.
but there was, I think he did play roles where he was sort of the um, older look at him here
Oh, no, with the handlebar and
and the handlebar and the bandolera.
mission.
So so my friend Matt, my neighbor Matt, he learned how to do stained glass window painting, where you paint on the glass and then you fire you paint with paint that has glaze mixed in with it, so it it fires and it's permanent.
I see.
And he learned how to do that kind of painting from this British guy who is no longer living, but was British when he was young, and he lived in England, and he taught there, and they hired Sean Connery for a nude model when Sean Connery was 18 years.
Oh, okay. Before he was famous. I had him on the couch before he was famous. Just kidding. Sean Connery was a man. He wouldn't have had to do the casting couch. At least I think.
So this is, and he wasn't entirely, he was wearing a little jock strap. But this is, but there are pictures of him. Here's another one of him.
Oh, he's pretty well built there.
And the teacher, the person that worked with Matt was the teacher that hired him to do this. And so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, you got to see Sean Connery nude.
To the degree, yes.
To a degree, mostly nude.
Mostly nude, except for the good bits.
Yes, the bits that
the flaccid bits.
The flaccid bits. The bits that you have to make sure that your accountability buddy, is holding on to
when you're urinating.
Yes. Because if another man isn't holding on to my willy,
Yeah.
right? How do I know I'm not thinking gay thoughts? I don't.
Yeah.
He has to hold on to me and keep me straight.
Keep me on the straight and narrow
Straight and narrow
and flaccid.
and flaccid.
So here, evidently he during his time of modeling, evidently he went under the name of Tom Connery. So
Tom Connery.
Here's a photograph of him.
Gee.
So anyway, there you go. You learn something every day. Tom Connery from Scotland also competed. He didn't win the Mr. Universe contest. I'm surprised that we have the chutzpah to say that our men from Earth are the best in the universe when there's that planet out there where guys are walking around with 3 legs and they got 2 sets of junk and they've got 18 six-pack abs. You know, why aren't they competing against Sean Connery, Tom Connery, you know? For Mr. Universe. Now you can say Mr. Earthling. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with having an Earthling, Mr. Earthling.
Mr. Earth, you know, that would be something. Yes, I've always found it a little bit presumptuous that they should call it Mr. Universe or Miss Universe.
Yes.
And when obviously we don't know how many ripe examples of perfect masculinity or femininity there are to be found on other planets. I mean, what if we should find the planet where men are building 3 houses a day and women are just making them mountains of flapjacks and every house has 2 American flags, 3 crosses, and children,
and an apple tree in the backyard.
An apple tree in the backyard and a cherry tree that's been chopped down.
Yep. I don't know. It's this.
You know, it's saying stuff like that really makes me realize how much I hate the world we're living in.
Yes, the world that we're living in does.
Why have we developed this?
What
drove us to this?
Can we just go back walking on all 4 legs and climb back into the tree and call it a day? Can we just do that?
Let's go back to the days when we were doing hunter-gatherer shit and
Cesar is in the room now. Cesar is here.
Hi, Cesar.
Cesar says, beautiful work. You must be talking about your work because he doesn't see anything I'm doing anymore. Cesar will be visiting me in October and to look at pens to buy, but also to see what I'm about when I'm here. So I have a lot of art that I'd like to show them that I did and that other people in my building do. I'm not doing it for hoping that he'd buy any, but he's welcome to. Actually, he has bought 2 things from me so far. I just haven't sent them to him. but when he's here in person, he might find something he likes better.
Speaking of people we know, yeah, I was telling you earlier how I basically have most of my notifications for Instagram turned off,
Yeah.
which I know is maybe not nice, but I find it's a much healthier thing for me because every
Uh-huh.
time I don't mind posting on Instagram because occasionally it will entertain you. Uh, that's my motivation right at this point because I know that sometimes what I will do will entertain Pierre.
Well,
But,
you 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 always know that there's going to be a smile
but
when you
I
post something.
just happened to look at the messages, uh, and I had missed one from Friedrich
Okay. Yeah.
a week ago, and he was asking me what to name a store that would sell leather goods if he wanted to use an Italian word for the name.
Uh-huh.
And his two options were Tesoro or Apprezzato.
Okay.
And um, I, I wasn't certain exactly how to respond to him because I don't know what he wants his brand image to be. But I told him, Tesoro would probably be the better one because that means treasure, and Apprezzato just means appreciated, which
Huh.
which just sound. I mean, it might sound okay to your typical German. Who knows? May I use an expletive very quickly?
Yes. Yeah. Sure.
It might sound okay to your regular German who knows fuck all about
Yes.
Italian or the Italian language and only knows, pizza and spaghetti and
Yeah.
manzini. But uh, it it just sounded very strange to me.
So
It's sort of like seeing the jars of pasta sauce now that I know the Italian language called prego,
mhm.
right?
Yes.
You,
Uh-huh.
yes, it just means like, oh, thanks,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. Please. Prego. Uh, it's again. I don't know. I'd have to ask him if he asked me that as
Well,
well.
I
I'd
assume
say, and I don't know Italian, but I would say, well, what is it you're trying to
what you're
convey
trying to
in
communicate
English?
about your product, right?
And um, and then why use Italian? What is being added to the brand by using a language that your customers don't know? Your customers and the owner doesn't know, evidently. Now, I don't know.
Well,
It's
Atomic Elf is saying liscio, smooth. Prego, yeah, prego sort of means you're welcome, but but it also Cesar can sort of mean like ti prego, I pray you, yeah, uh,
it. I think of Prego when I would hear it. I've only been to Italy a few times, and it seems
yeah. If
more
you say
like,
grazie, you say grazie, and then the other person says prego, so you're welcome,
yeah,
right? But you can also say ti prego, I beg you, or I pray you. It's because it has the same root as preghiere, which literally means to pray.
okay. Um,
César, ¿hablas español o es algo otro? Porque yo hablo español, pero mi español es terrible.
we'll wait to hear. We're all
We'll to see. Yes. Yes. Atomic Elf is correct. Español. Buenísimo. Asks
yeah,
someone.
yeah. Prego has
Ah,
it means
yes.
pardon. Prego, like what did you say? Um, it's a why it was chosen for a pasta sauce. I don't know, but uh,
Like with anything, uh, like with anything Italian in the United States, it's based on on this vague notion of Italianicity, I suppose is the term I would use, right?
Yeah.
There, you know, Walter Benjamin had this whole essay that he wrote just on that. Our art theory professor Susan Felleman, very nice lady. Um, she had us read the essay that Walter Benjamin wrote, and it was all about this ad from about panzani pasta for the French. And Benjamin's big point, or at least the first point that he makes, is that it's really not about, like, you know, the product in itself. It's not about the pasta. It's about, you know, this vague sense of being able to go out to the market and select your ingredients, because they have, like, the weird thing is, like, they have this photo and it has a fishing net or something like that, and it's filled with, you know, tomatoes and fresh basil and mozzarella cheese, and it's like, you don't even show me the pasta.
Yes.
So it's like, you know, they're trying to sell you that feeling, and then he goes on to make some points about the way that photography communicates, but that's immaterial. What that to our point anyhow.
Mm.
What I'm getting at is that, you know, it's always about that vague sense of Italian feeling, structures of feeling, right? That are Italian in nature somehow,
Uh-huh.
right? Spaghetti e mandolini.
So, do you know what Friedrich? I had to change his. I had to remember how to turn Federico into American again. Friedrich is making out of leather for his shop. Hello,
Well, now
Russell.
that you've got that, now that you've got me questioning that it might not just be, you know, purses and such.
Yeah.
I'm not certain whether it's Italian leather. Carthaginian B is asking whether it's Italian leather, and I can't say I know that it comes from, like, I don't know, Italian cows.
Yeah.
Also, Atomic Elf has pointed out that previously Prego was Campbell's very own spaghetti sauce.
Oh
which
dear.
is a terrible name, and so the marketing person, I guess, renamed it. Which, good move on the marketing person. They just should have learned some Italian beforehand.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out. I pressed wrong buttons. So Carthaginian B is Friedrich trying to do something with Italian leather. I don't know. I'll have to find out from him.
What is Friedrich making? Because
Well, I know that he had manufactured or remanufactured a lot of World War One era military uniforms, belts, and backpacks, and ammo pouches and stuff. So maybe what he's doing is maybe he's coming up with a pen satchel. Maybe. I can't imagine he's making overcoats or gloves.
Yeah,
He might
making army greatcoats.
I presume he's making making maybe pen cases or satchels, but you can carry books and paper and pens in. But I might be wrong. I have a army greatcoat story, German army greatcoat story to tell you. There, the Monuments Men, that movie or book. Well, one of the Monuments Men was named Walker Hancock. And have you ever been to Philadelphia, Russell?
Yes, I believe I have. Yeah, I was in.
The train station in Philadelphia has a monument that he sculpted for the World War II dead and American soldiers that died. And presumably from Philadelphia. Anyway, let me just find a picture of it. Anyway, Walker Hancock had a studio in Gloucester, not too far from me. And PHIA. So here is Walker Hancock right there, sculpting the angel. There's the angel is this head, and it's the dead soldier is the dead one, and
Yeah.
the angel has wings that go up. Well, here's what it looks like in the train station,
Oh, well.
and it's this beautiful, huge, 30-foot tall, at least, I don't know, something, statue. Anyway, this guy had a studio in Gloucester, and one of my clients, who had a magnificent estate in Manchester, Massachusetts, he went to his studio and he said, Mr. Hancock, I'd really love to have you make a statue for a little reflecting pool in our garden. And he agreed to do it, and it's a little naked youth, boy or young man,
Right.
on the back of a dolphin, and it's life size, the life size of the boy and the dolphin.
Imagine having enough money to commission a guy to do a life-size boy on riding a dolphin.
Well, he had that money.
You had that money. I'm starting now that I'm working in a museum. I'm starting to meet and
you're meeting other people that have that kind of money.
who have that kind of money, which
Actually, there's another friend I have who owns an antique shop near Gloucester, and I think he actually lives in Gloucester. He has 3 sculptures by Walker Hancock.
Wow.
And they're not all life size, but they're quite beautiful. I'll show you what the estate looks like. Let me see. The estate was recently sold for $25 million. And in fact, there's a lot to do with this too. Hold on, you'll enjoy this part of the story. Maybe.
Let's find out once I
Summer Street. Summer Street, Manchester. Okay. It's currently not for sale on Zillow. Here's the Zillow price of it.
the Zestimate.
The Zestimate. So here's the house. It's called the Chimneys because it has 7 smokestacks coming out of it.
Right.
And it was the summer house of people that lived in Boston. He was someone associated with Harvard. I don't know if he was a professor but his city house was on Comm Avenue, and it is now the French Library. And anyway, this was the summer house, and it was built in the early 20th century, like 1904, I think. 8 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, 13,000 square feet. And it had a garden there. And that was designed, the gardens were designed by Olmsted, the son of the...
Olmsted, the son of the guy who designed
Central Park.
Yes, Central Park.
And my friend Patrick, who lived in my building was their landscape architect who was putting the property back to the original, and he designed their greenhouse, which was built, and but it's this amazing a piece of property, and also this beach right here that was shared by 3 families. And the other 2 families that had access to that beach were sort of way on the edge. So it all looked like it was entirely private. And oh, here's the sculpture. There it is, right there.
Oh, hold on.
See it?
I see.
So that's the sculpture, and I did quite a lot of work for them, designing invitations and stuff, and a book plate, and they would have me up for dinner every once in a while, and really nice people. But they sold it, and they now live in another town of Massachusetts in a smaller place. But anyway, this guy went to see Walker Hancock to ask about that statue, to ask for something for that little pond. And Walker Hancock was sitting at his desk in his studio, and it was a big desk, and behind him was this big leather chair. And when Walker Hancock got up to walk around or show him something, he looked back, and the back of the chair was actually a World War II German officer's coat.
Huh.
Just draped over the whole coat, so he was sitting on the coat. And during the evacuation of all the artwork from the caves and stuff, and to ship them back to Paris or Belgium or Poland or wherever they came from, they would ship them in German military overcoats. They'd pack them up in these overcoats. That cool?
Because the overcoats just made the perfect packing material.
Well, it's what they had on hand. They didn't have bubble wrap.
There were just so many robbed German greatcoats.
There wasn't any, they couldn't cut down a tree to turn it into Excelsior to pack it. They had to, they used German greatcoats. So OMG says that. Someone else joined us, Teresa, it looks like. Oh, there, Teresa, Traveled by the Books. Oh, yes, the British officer's hat. Okay. Testicle hammocks. What are we talking about? I missed all sorts of conversations here.
Yes, there's lots of I took a look, and I was very, very intrigued by the contents of their inquiries and their questions.
So anyway, I'll try to find out from Friedrich. I haven't talked to him in a long time, and I know that his father was doing poorly, or continues to do poorly, and but I think he made it to the Chicago Pen Show, or something that happened in Chicago recently. I'll find out what he's making. What is the Italian name for cow? What would cow stuff be?
Like, do you just mean a cow, or?
Well, a dead cow stuff,
So leather?
I'm trying to think of something that would be, would reference the fact that a cow was used in the production of this.
Well, normally that's what you try to avoid with that kind of product.
Well, I know that's what you try to avoid.
Here's a dead cow's skin we soaked in ammonia. Want to wear it?
Yeah. like this thing, this diploma that I bought on eBay. This is lambskin vellum. It's
Actual vellum, not
actual vellum, not just vellum paper, but actual sheepskin. And that's what these things were made of back in the olden days. And sometimes they still are. So, so what would cowhide? We say that now. That's my cowhide jacket.
no,
Or
I'm not entirely certain. I don't normally discuss things
such
like leather making when I'm talking to my
the
Italianate companions, but
uh,
I know that leather is called cuoio,
cuoio. Okay.
oggetti di cuoio o qualcosa così. Forse la pelle di una mucca, una vacca.
When I was in Italy last for a wedding, I went with one of my neighbors here in Boston, and she and I were walking down the street with this sister of the person getting married who lived in Italy. She wasn't Italian herself, but she had been living there. She married an Italian and had been living there for a decade or so. And we're walking, the three of us are walking on a street, and we suddenly looked around. We couldn't find Wendy anywhere. And I thought, oh my God, she's lost. She doesn't have a clue how to get back to the hotel. So we just kept on walking around the block looking for her. And we would, widen our search. And we suddenly, well, she must be in one of these stores. And the woman said, oh, she's going to be strizzare come il limone. Come il limone. Strizzare come il limone.
Oh,
Squeezed like a lemon because she was going to be forced to buy a coat.
Oh,
And she did. She spent $1 million lira on
they
this.
were using lira at the time. Still,
They were using lira at the time, and she was squeezed like a lemon. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful coat. It was the leather was almost like kid glove thickness, just very, very fine. Can't imagine it would keep her warm, but it certainly was beautiful to touch for those of us that like touching leather. I know that this is foreign to you, Russell.
I mean, I don't mind touching leather. I just don't use it in my daily life.
Yeah. So, but I'm trying to think what we do use sometimes the term skin or the term hide, and we're not hiding, we're not disguising the fact that this came from an animal. When we have gloves made of kid or of leather, genuine leather, it's we embrace it essentially. I've got little tiny cigarette cases that look like wallets almost. I have suitcases, and I open it up and I see a little gold stamping, genuine elephant.
Genuine elephant.
Yeah.
So you have an elephant suitcase, and
I don't have an elephant suitcase. I
Elephants is the brand name?
I do have. I'm sorry. I have genuine walrus. That's what I have.
Genuine walrus.
At the lake we have an elephant foot umbrella stand. If you can imagine anything grosser than that, and why we still have it, but we still do. Are you never going to talk to me again?
No, I'm just I'm always very impressed by the kinds of things that people have found uses for in various animal.
Yeah, who needs an elephant would be fine with 3 legs. They don't need 4. Let's just saw one of them off and turn it into an umbrella stand.
Yeah, you just saw that fella. You saw that off, sucker that, hollow that sucker out, and we'll stick umbrellas in it.
Yeah,
All of our ivory umbrellas, all our ivory
yeah,
umbrellas.
and let's get rid of those tusks. They don't need those. Let's saw them off and turn them into a piano or two.
So, who is it that asked that? Cesar was wondering if we had a favorite knife or blade for sharpening pencils. Mine is I have basically just this thing right here, which is just
An X-Acto blade.
yeah, it's not really even an X-Acto blade. It's really more of a craft knife. It's a box cutter, basically.
Box cutter, yeah, a terrorist
blade.
weapon.
Yeah, that's what I bring onto the airplane if I want to make my security checks a lot more fun. But that's what I've used. A lot of people use X-Acto blades. I don't know what you would use, Pierre.
I have pencil sharpeners that I cram them into, but I do have a pencil pointer. It's called. It looks like it's a conical. Looks like a big fat inkwell, and it has a hole on the top on one side. You stick your pencil in and you rotate it like this, and it rubs the point against sandpaper.
Oh.
And it will sharpen. It's used by architects if they want their 9H pencil to have a
precise point,
sharp thing. Somewhere in my house, I hope I didn't sell, is a ruler. It's an 18-inch ruler, and it's a big fat piece of wood. It's a carpenter's ruler, and it has a groove, a metal piece inserted into it that has bumps on it, and it looks like this, except the bumps go this way. And it's a pencil sharpener. You drag your pencil across it and it will make a point. You know, and for lumber
pencils,
for lumber people, you know, people that have the big square pencils.
Yeah, I have.
They're only marking, you know, I guess they should be more exact than they are, but they are marking where they're going to cut the wood. And I think you don't mind the line being fat because you're going to cut at the edge of the line. You line up your saw. You know, the line could be this fat as this is, but you're going to start cutting along this edge. So you just make a straight edge is what you're doing. Yeah. The line can be fat.
Well, I had one that I was using. Don't know where it went. I can pull out the other one that's unsharpened though. I would like to get one of those sharpeners specifically for that. That's what we're talking about. It's this.
Yeah, that's
you'll see that the
that's a carpenter's pencil.
Yeah,
they do make something called a lumber crayon, and it looks like a big hexagonal coloring crayon. It's all one chunk of lead.
It's basically like a grease pencil.
Yeah, except it's all
square.
It's all lead. It's all, and I've got a bunch of those things, and they're fun to draw with. And I suspect they were used maybe more at the lumber yard when you're cutting a huge chunk of wood into a bunch of 2x4s. Maybe that's they could be a little bit cruder in those markings. So Cesar, do you have any other? I'm looking forward to your visit, Cesar. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Um, as being made of calf skin. Well, yeah, there are metal, there are leather things that you can make using a big old tough cow. You're not going to make gloves. These gloves were not made from a cow. This is pigskin. This is what this is. Who that pig doesn't need to have its skin anymore.
Skin? What's he holding all that skin for?
Yeah. One of my neighbors, I don't know if you remember her, Russell. Her name is Pauline Lim, and she makes these they almost look like they should be in children's books. They have a very warm, fuzzy, innocent look to them. No, Pauline Lim. Painter. And so here's one of her paintings. It's a palace, and these little mice are walking down the thing. And here's another one of a girl in a corner, and the captions she comes up with these things are really very dark. There was one that she had, it was a favorite one of mine, where it was a picture of a little bunny rabbit, and it looked like a Russian icon, I think, almost. It had beautiful gold leaf added to it, and a little banner and Old English lettering on it that said something like, "Kill me, wear me, eat me." Just, that's what we do to these little bunnies.
Yes.
And so these things that look kind of innocent and fun are actually quite dark. Right up our street.
I would say so.
Wear Me was one of them. It also, wear me, eat me. Kill me. I don't know. I think Cesara, you'll enjoy seeing her work and meeting her. I think she's a lot of fun as well. I sent Cesar a little video of her that one of my other neighbors made, just where she describes her art. Brawleys. Oh, Ms. Marilyn is here.
Well, hello, Miss Marilyn. At this point,
I think I'm starting to get a little hungry.
yes, I was going to say at this point, I think we've exhausted the topics, the current topics of
Yeah, we talked about masturbation,
masturbation, and
urination,
holding,
pornography,
holding his son's
winky,
private parts. Yes, we've talked about. I didn't get to talk about Gutzon Borglum.
Who's that?
He's the guy who did the Mount Rushmore designs.
Oh, okay.
He also did Stone Mountain, so not the greatest guy.
I see.
But I only really wanted to bring him up because his name is absolutely ridiculous.
I like it.
It's a
So
wonderful.
he was the architect of, or the artist of, Mount Rushmore.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, I think he started out on it and then they fired him because I can't recall whether he got too ambitious or whether he was just being disagreeable in general.
What's his first name? What's his name, rather?
I believe it's Gutson, but Borglum is definitely in there. Borglum. But actually, I think there are some sculptures that he did that are
Gutzon Borglum.
yes, Gutson Borglum.
What a name.
I know.
His real name is John Gutson de la Mothe Borglum.
Well,
De la Moth.
De la Motte or something like that. Yeah, but he also did Stone Mountain.
Yeah.
Not our favorite monument.
No.
But yeah, interesting fellow. He also taught oh Lord. I should remember her name by now. She was an animalier in America. She worked in New York.
I don't know what an animalier is.
It's an animal sculptor.
Oh.
So if you're thinking of like Antoine Louis Barrier, let me think.
I see. Actually, that house that sold for $25 million that I showed you, that had the fancy gardens and anything, it was originally one of the previous owners, the owner before my clients bought it. It only had 3 owners up until they just sold it. Was a woman who was a sculptor, and she, I'll show you what she did.
But the woman I was thinking of that was Gutson Borglum's student for a time was Anna Hyatt Huntington.
Hannah Hyatt Huntington.
Anna Hyatt Huntington.
Anna Hyatt Huntington. So Catherine Lane Weems was this woman here, and she lived in that house at one point, and she is famous for her animal carvings, sculptures, and she has no, I'm not getting, okay, there's Catherine Ward Lane Weems. So she sculpted these beautiful sculptures of animals, and there's a lot of them in Boston, including outside the museum school. Rhino. She and it's a life-size rhinoceros.
Oh.
And that's and here she is working on it, and this is in that house that sold. That's where she made that.
Enough space.
So anyway, it's amazing. That house had a lot of art in it. Okay, I need to eat.
All right.
And Mary just said that. Scott. Okay, everyone be good. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.